We concede a bit more also because they surprised us a little bit in the way they were playing. We prepared the pressing in different ways, so we struggled to adjust a little bit. And then I think second half, sorry, we completely controlled the game.
Welcome back. You're watching the CFC Central YouTube channel. I am Sam. A lot of people have been asking, what is the surprise that Brighton sprung on Enzo Maresca, causing Chelsea to struggle in the first half? And how did the Blues react to this particular change? In today's video, that's exactly what we'll try and break down. So let's start by taking a look at how Brighton set up in a game earlier against Arsenal. Here, Arsenal are pressing high, and you can see Baleba is central and the deeper of the pivots. Ahead of him are Brighton manager Fabian Hurtzler's false tens, or the two eights. One is Baleba's pivot partner James Milner, the other is the number 10 João Pedro. Arsenal are using a 4-4-2 with a front two of Havertz and Odegaard against Brighton's two centre-backs and the goalkeeper. Declan Rice is temporarily on Baleba, and the near side winger, Saka, is on the full-back Hinchelwood. But on the far side, Leandro Trossard, the left winger, is not on the full-back but on the second pivot, Milner. Partey, the deepest of Arsenal's CMs, is on the dangerous 10, João Pedro. When the goalkeeper plays right to the free fullback, notice how a chain reaction shifts Arsenal's shape. Trossard leaves Milner and engages the fullback. Rice moves from Baleba onto Milner, and Odegaard, previously pressing the back three, now goes on Baleba. Odegaard is telling Saka to watch out for the switch to Dunk, who is now unmarked on the far side. Brighton's two centre-backs, the goalkeeper and the pivots all range from excellent to very good passers under pressure, making them very frustrating to mark. Forest didn't press Brighton on goal kicks, but you can see Baleba again is the deepest, and the 8s with the double pivot partner and the 10, Rutter, who is in because of the injured João Pedro. All three started against Chelsea. I'm assuming Maresca saw this and felt that A. Baleba would be the deepest midfielder, so would have to be marked by Palmer, and B. Hinchelwood would be the number 8. Early on in the game, you can see us borrow a page from Arsenal's book, a front two with the centre forward and Palmer in the Odegaard role to make it a 2 versus Brighton's back 3. Noni on the near side is close to Estupinian on Brighton's stronger left side. On the other side, you can see Sancho, like Trossard, is not on the full-back but tucked in on Brighton's number 8. There are, however, a few major issues. Baleba is not the deepest central midfielder, and the second is that Enzo is doing what Rice tried to do. There's also the fact that Hinchelwood is not at full-back or the double pivot, two of the positions that he's played for Brighton this season. Jackson charges down for Bruggen, splitting the field. The goalkeeper then plays into the pressure for Mats Wiefer, the defensive midfielder. Enzo tries to close down his marker to win the ball and gets spun. As Wiefer carries forward, Hinchelwood, the third central midfielder, drops to receive, closely followed by his marker Caicedo. These are the first warning signs of Chelsea's double pivot trying to cope with Brighton's 3. They are skewed and too far up the field, leaving a gaping hole in the middle. Half a minute later, we repeat the same sequence. This time, Dunk goes very wide to left back. Note that here, Palmer and Enzo both have double responsibilities since they're outnumbered 3-2. Palmer has to prevent Brighton's most dangerous deep passer, Dunk, from having time and space, while also making sure that the goalkeeper doesn't play it centrally to the pivot Wiefer. Enzo's positioning is also half and half, showing that he's on Baleba, but he's also worried about jumping on Wiefer if Palmer goes to press Dunk. When the ball does go to Dunk, like Arsenal, Chelsea shift. Palmer pushes on Dunk, Enzo moves towards Wiefer and leaves Baleba, Sancho leaves Kadioglu and moves to Baleba. Hinchelwood drops again and is hounded by Caicedo. The space, however, between the midfield and defence again is significant, especially for players like Welbeck, Mitoma and Rutter, all of whom love to drop into space. All of the front four having double responsibilities and having to jump markers made the opening 25 minutes very tough to handle. Here you can see Jackson is frustrated because Baleba has received facing goal under no pressure. Enzo moves to engage him. Palmer is close to Wiefer and Caicedo is on Hinchelwood. Baleba draws the pressure but delays. Wiefer offers himself as an option, but Palmer doesn't close him down. This forces Caicedo to jump on Wiefer, leaving his man Hinchelwood free. When the ball goes back to Dunk, you can see just how much space the free man Hinchelwood has. There was a second change Brighton made that caught Maresca off guard. In the 5th minute, Baleba slots into the back line and vacates the midfield. The ball is then switched to Webster. At this point, Sancho has to push on Webster to stop him from progressing. However, take a look at Brighton's right back Ferdi Kadioglu, who's pushing into attacking midfield, something Cucurella did against Bournemouth to great effect. Webster drives forward, and you can see Sancho is split between both his duties. When Webster drives forward, you can see Sancho is split between both of his duties. Enzo and Caicedo are 2v2 in midfield and can't drop any deeper. Kadioglu now goes from right back to right next to Colville. Kadioglu's positioning here makes it a 2v2 on our centre backs and creates enough space between Levi and Fofana for Welbeck to receive. In the 6th minute, all the problems so far come to a head. Wiefer, the deepest CM, receives under no pressure from Palmer and goes wide to Webster, who is being chased down by Jackson. Identical to the last sequence, Kadioglu again inverts from right back centrally, and Webster finds him with a nice pass. He has enough space and time behind our midfield line to receive, turn, and distribute to Mitoma out wide. From this particular point, we conceded the opening goal. Here in the 15th minute, even more problems caused by the same factors. This time, Palmer is on Wiefer, Enzo is on Baleba, and Caicedo is on Hinchelwood. When the ball is played wide, Webster is free because Sancho has been dragged to left back by Kadioglu pushing forward. Enzo now is forced to jump to Webster, and Baleba, crucially, is now free. Webster finds Welbeck in acres of space, and Brighton have a 5v4 on our last line. Enzo, you can see, the latest to be frustrated by the marking issues. Now Rutter manipulates the last line by coming in from right wing, pulling Cucurella out with him. You can see that Caicedo has recognized Baleba is free, so he leaves Hinchelwood. When Rutter passes to Baleba, Enzo and Caicedo get mixed up. One is originally marking him, and the other has jumped his marker. They both go for him and both get bypassed. Kadioglu again is on the last line. The ball finds Welbeck in the box, but luckily, nothing comes of it. Brighton's midfield three kept pestering the Chelsea double pivot, taking advantage of the free man when Palmer failed to offer defensive support. Here, Enzo is on Baleba again, but this is where Maresca makes his first change to counter Brighton's move. Caicedo, who was earlier deep on Hinchelwood, is now moved up to Mats Wiefer. Hinchelwood, the third central midfielder, now makes a run past Caicedo to receive, taking Caicedo away from Wiefer. When the ball goes wide, you can see Chelsea do very well to keep the near side options marked and box Brighton to one side. But Palmer is still on the far side, marking no one in particular, and hasn't shifted to Wiefer, who is now free. That little change from Maresca of pushing Caicedo up on Wiefer sees Brighton try a different approach. Just 10 seconds after the last sequence, a near identical setup with Enzo and Caicedo on Brighton's pivots. When Wiefer tries to drop, Caicedo follows him, and Verbruggen straightaway goes long, trying to manipulate the last line with a 2v2 for Welbeck and Rutter versus Colville and Cucurella. Colville, however, steams in and wins the header. Note West Fofana's positioning here. This is how Maresca adapted. Instead of keeping Caicedo deep on Hinchelwood man-to-man, he was left free with a player from the last line jumping up into the space to take care of him. Here West takes a half-and-half position between Hinchelwood and his original position next to Colville. Should the difficult pass from the goalkeeper find Hinchelwood, Fofana can then engage quickly. If Verbruggen goes long, Fofana can simply drop back and make it a numerical advantage. In the 26th minute, we see the same strategy. Chelsea pressing Brighton's build-up, Enzo and Caicedo on their pivots. Verbruggen goes long again to target Colville 1v1 with Welbeck. Once more, West is halfway to closing down Hinchelwood. This vital tweak nullified a lot of the chaos in the first half, but Brighton still created a lot of issues. For instance, individual errors out of possession still bothered the Blues. Here in the 36th minute, our pivots are pressing Brighton's pivots high. Enzo tries to close down Baleba and just like the very first sequence in this video, gets spun again. Baleba is able to carry forward and you can see the guy engaging him is actually Sancho, who has moved inside from left wing because Kadioglu is again inverting and making it a 4v4 for Brighton against our last line. The ball is passed to Rutter and Sancho, who was excellent with his tracking and defensive work, does well to ensure he is helping Cucurella. Enzo is close to Baleba. Caicedo is trying to get back to screen his defense. Hinchelwood is now the free man, and once again, Palmer is not tracking Brighton's third midfielder, which is why when he receives, there is a 3v2 advantage on a right-hand side. Welbeck manages to crack a shot away from inside the box, but it goes high. At the start of the 38th minute, Enzo is again trying to close down Baleba, and for the third time in the first half, is burnt by Brighton's pivot. While Caicedo is on Weaver, you can see this time Gusto is stepping up to close down Hinchelwood. Brighton quickly looked to exploit that too, passing the ball straight to the vacant right back slot for West Fofana versus Kaoru Mitoma. West Fofana in particular had a highly underrated performance and was key to Chelsea's chaos handling. Just before half-time, we see Palmer pressing Dunk, trying to keep Weaver in his cover shadow. The ball goes wide to Estupinian, and Weaver is now free to receive as the third man. You can also see Hinchelwood moving wide, dragging Caicedo with him and opening up the central space. With all three central midfielders out of the way, Mitoma now explodes into the zone and Weaver plays the pass. Once more, it is West Fofana who steps out at great risk and quickly manages to win the ball against one of the cleverest ball manipulators in the league. Just to illustrate the risk of what Fofana has to do, here's a moment from early on in the second half. Jackson is pressing the centre back, Enzo is pushing up on Baleba, Palmer again not really tight to Weaver. Baleba finds a nice pass to Weaver, and Caicedo again is forced to jump to stop him from turning. Hinchelwood is now free. Baleba instead looks to carry through lines, and Fofana, anticipating a pass to Hinchelwood, is already halfway stepping up. When Baleba carries through our midfield, Fofana does really well to tackle and win the ball, but the loose ball finds its way to Hinchelwood, with only one centre back in the back line and a 2v2 on the near side. He finds Mitoma in the box 1v1 with Gusto. Mitoma is tackled and goes down. No penalty. But that's how fine the margin for error was for Fofana. In the 52nd minute, we are pressing Brighton again in build-up. Our pivots are well positioned on Brighton's pivots. Jackson is on Verbruggen, who goes left. Palmer aggressively pressures Dunk, and Noni goes on Estupinian. Hinchelwood, the free man, now looks to drop to offer Dunk an option, and it's Fofana who follows him all the way from centre back. He goes in clean, aggressive, and wins the ball twice, finding Palmer in the box, whose magical pass to Noni unfortunately doesn't lead to a goal. But that chance was all down to Fofana's initiative. Again in the 74th minute, Baleba is on the ball, and Jackson tries to hassle him. Caicedo is close by, Enzo is on the new central midfielder Yasin Ayari, and the new 10, Julio Enciso, is now free in space. When Baleba finds the ball to Enciso, Wes is there right on time again, engaging immediately and winning the ball. It was the risky but effective decision to use Fofana to push on the number 10 that eliminated a lot of Brighton's dangerous receptions between lines. Defensively, Sancho was very impressive, sacrificing his attacking play to ensure Kadioglu wasn't left alone to cause nuisance. Enzo was excellent in the limited time that he got the ball, but without it, he struggled to match Baleba's speed and athleticism. Palmer's 4 goals single-handedly won Chelsea the game, but you can see that his defensive discipline needs a little bit of work. However, if you're a prodigious talent with incredible output and game-changing abilities, not many, including me, will care too much. But that's about it for this one. If you've made it this far, thank you so much again for watching. Please do drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know if there's something in particular that you'd like to see from me. Until next time, up the Chels.